text message, YouTube videos for long form, Instagram for short form, Facebook content, still doing some tweets, all these different components together to be able to drive more business, drive more brand, drive more marketing. So you as a small business need to focus on text messaging and then still do the email, still do the phone calls, and still do some social, but realize that social's a long place. Welcome back to the Prospecting Show, where each week we talk about tips, tricks, and methods for growing an amazing small business pipeline. I'm your host, Dr. Connor Robertson, and on this podcast, you can expect segments on communication, sales, prospecting, and closing. Thank you to everyone who has supported my 100 episodes and the 100 days goal going into 2020. Enjoy the show. The next episode here, I just listened to one of the previous episodes and realized I was probably sleeping the whole time because I was really down-toned and sounded a little bit tired. So hopefully I have a little more energy here for you guys listening to this episode. And today's topic is going to be text message marketing. I had a call the other day with a client that was talking about different options, business-to-business expansion. We're doing some LinkedIn for him, email, text messaging we brought up because we already started doing it and it was working super well for him. And then he was asking, why does that work better, or how can we make that work better? Well, it's really, really simple. The number one way to communicate with someone today, 2019 going into 2020, is text message. The problem that you're going to have is that you can't actually get all the phone numbers you need in order to text these people. So there are a couple different ways to do this. If you have a consumer product, the very first way and the easiest way to do it, go do a giveaway online on Facebook or Instagram, create a lead form, first name, last name, phone, email, capture their phone number there, follow them up with a text message. They're opting in to get something, so you're going to be able to use their phone number. The second option is what we do a lot in the business-to-business space, which is at a trade show. We go out to the trade show, we build out a form, put it on our phone, first name, last name, phone, email. Thank you so much for coming by the booth in order to get a discount, in order to learn more information, in order to get a video, whatever it is that we're offering at that particular case. Fill out this form, first name, last name, phone, email, and then we capture their phone number there. The next step of that is, why would you want the phone number, right? Why would you want to be able to text the phone number as opposed to just call it? So let's go backwards for a second. Let's talk about the current options that exist. Most sales teams, what they're doing is they're doing email. So they're using their CRM and they're blasting out email. Then they're doing phone calls with something like Phone Burner or an auto dialer where you just get massive volume. And then they're doing social, which is mostly content development, right? Let me put out a video. Let me put out this item. Let's put out a podcast. Let's put out, whatever it is they're doing. Let's post a couple pictures. Let's get some engagement. Let's run some ads. Just doing some social kind of stuff to try and push it. The problem with social as a whole is it's kind of brand building. It's not really actionable. It's not saying, hey, let's go out there and let's get a customer for this reason. What it's doing is it's just saying, hey, here's my brand. Here's what we do. Eventually you might like something. If I put out enough content, maybe you'll buy something from me long term. So the reason that email, phone calls, and social itself is really not going to push it is because at the end of the day, people are seeing burnout there. Facebook advertising is costing more than it ever has before. Phone calls are harder to get direct lines for people to actually talk to them. Very time consuming, and if you're not super tech savvy, you're going to be sitting there dialing out phone numbers instead of using a CRM or something like Phone Burner to auto dial those. Email, we're still sitting at 8 to 10% open rate on standard emails. Cold email, just grab a list, copy, paste, send out an email, reference their first name, put an email signature in there, you're going to 8 to 10%. You have to have absolutely massive volume to get to the point that you are going to get any return from those three methods, which is okay if you have a big team. But most of our customers are small business owners. People have less than, I would say probably less than 25 people on their team, sometimes less than 50 people. They do not have the volume to pound out thousands and thousands of phone calls every day, all day to those people. So because of that, they have to do a more strategic play. So text messaging is going to be that strategic play today. You're going to get between 90 and 97% open rate on a text message, where you get an 8 to 10% on an email. So what you should do is you should find a way to get lead generation where you're getting first name, last name, phone number, email. Make sure it's a cell phone because you can't text a landline. And then what you need to do is build out an automation sequence. And that automation sequence should be attached to a form. So someone fills out the form and then this whole sequence starts. Text them a couple times, emails them a couple times, gives them value up front. And then to go back to one of my other podcast episodes here, you need to do a few different things in both the text message and the email. You need to create an intro. You need to create value. You got to give them one call to action and then allow them to unsubscribe. Those three things always need to happen, right? The intro, hey, thank you so much for stopping by our booth, create some value. We have this great product that solves this problem. Click the link below to get 50% off or whatever the deal is. That's how you do it. You do the intro, you do the value, you do the call to action or the offer as they call it, and then allow them to opt out if they want to. Text messaging is going to be up and coming. Email has been totally ruined by marketing so far, and I think you're going to find that at the same time the text messaging eventually will get ruined, but we are so early in the game and compliance is so hairy on this that we don't really know what's going to happen. But you might as well spend the time to learn how to do text message marketing, but do it tastefully. A great example of this is Gary Vaynerchuk. If you look at him, you go askgaryvee.com or look at any of the things that he's doing. He has a whole texting platform. At the end of all of his videos, he's got a phone number. You can text that, you can opt in, and then they have a mass texting platform where he sends out content to thousands and thousands of people across the world, probably millions of people at this point, and it's getting them engaged. And yes, he's not necessarily offering one particular sale point because his customer is not like everyday audience really in terms of monetization, but he's putting content out there every single day. Text message, YouTube videos for long form, Instagram for short form, Facebook content, still doing some tweets, all these different components together to be able to drive more business, drive more brand, drive more marketing. So you as a small business need to focus on text messaging and then still do the email, still do the phone calls, and still do some social, but realize that social is a long play. Social is not going to change anything for you today, but text message marketing might actually do that. This will transition us right into virtual assistants. I'm going to do another episode on this and kind of talk more about why that's important, but let's talk about how you can use the virtual assistants. Because compliance requires opt-in of these individuals, if you have a list already from your old database or whatever it is, and you have their first name, last name, cell phone, and email, but they haven't opted in to get your text message, what we do is we grab a form, we create a form, first name, last name, phone, email, we send it to our virtual team, our virtual assistants overseas, Philippines, India, different areas there, and they do the data entry for us, where they put the first name into the first name field, the last name into the last name field, the phone number into the phone number field, and the email into the email field, and then that will start an automation. If you are in your business and you don't have enough time because you're a small business owner, time is always the factor. It's usually not just money. You're starting to build money, you're starting to build wealth in the company, but you have no time. So what you have to do is you have to start leveraging other people's time. It's kind of like the credit card stuff we talked about before, leveraging other people's money. You have to leverage other people's time. The way you leverage that time is you go out and get virtual assistants. You can go get 5 of them, you go get 1 of them. It doesn't matter. For every 40 hours that you give to the virtual assistant, you might be saving yourself 20 or 30 of your own hours, which at the end of the day, just do straight math. If you pay yourself $100 an hour, and the virtual assistant's costing you $3, $5, $7 an hour, you should always do that. Every single time you should set that up. So the way that we use the virtual assistant is primarily in the data entry method, putting information into a spreadsheet, putting it into a form, putting it into the CRM, whatever it is that you need to do to get that consistent, repetitive kind of nature, we always use the virtual assistants there. And then at the end of the day with text message marketing, once you text the prospect, always make your call to action to get on the phone with you. Do not try to close a deal on text message. It is extremely difficult. Even if you have a referral, very, very difficult to get anybody interested in that. So what you need to do is you need to say, hey, I just sent you a text message. Thank you so much for responding. What I want to do is jump on the phone so we can see if we can help each other out. Use that kind of verbiage. Do not go, hey, do you want to buy something? Just ask them, how can we help each other out? Get on the phone there. Once you're on the phone, figure out how you guys can leverage each other's relationship and eventually get them to pay you for your skill set, and maybe eventually you can pay them for their skill set. Thank you so much for listening to this particular episode on text message marketing. Hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving here, recording it early in the morning. Let's kick it.